Okay, probability and stats. I'm going to attempt to go over like estimating a population variance, that lesson 7-5 that several people had questions on. So you got your chi-square distribution. Okay, and I'm going to ignore that formula until the very end when I go over it. One thing with the chi-squared, they are not symmetric. So they are usually heavier on one side of the data than the other. N is your number of sample values. S squared is your variance. Rho squared is your population variance. Degree of freedom is n minus 1. And then the confidence interval, which you guys will be doing, is the n minus 1 times your sample variance all over when we're going to find our chi right and our chi left. Okay, we're going to be using table A-4, which I also attached into your lesson. So on number 19, it was movie links. And it said using data set 9 in appendix B includes 23 movies with the ratings of PG, so on and so forth. So that's where I got the 23, okay, for the PG and the PG-13. My mean of that was 120.8. My standard deviation was 22.9 minutes for just those. Then you have your R movies, and notice I labeled those out. 12 movies, mean is 118.1, standard deviation is 20.8. Okay, degree of freedom, see that DF? That means degree of freedom. That's where I took the n minus 1. So I took 23 minus 1, got 22. Did the same thing on this side. I took 12 minus 1, I got 11. So now I'm finding my X and my right chi table. So I go to this table back here. Okay. So I go to this table. So I go down to 22, and over it says it's 95%. So I go over to the 0.95. So 22.95, that's where I got the 12.338. Then I do the same thing for the left. I go down to 11, so I go down to the 22 and go over to the left one at 0.05. And that's where I got the 33.94. So that's how I use that table. Okay. I went with the 95% interval where it says 0.95. I went down to my degree of freedom, and then I moved over to the 0.95. That's where I got that. So that's where these two numbers came from on both sides. I did the degree of freedom 11, so I went down 11 and went over to 0.95 and then 0.05. So that's where I got those two numbers as well. So now I'm going to plug it into that formula that you saw up top. Okay, so you take your n. Okay, take your n minus 1. So I'm taking my degree of freedom. So I took my n minus 1, 22, my rho squared, all over the 33.924, and take the square root of that. Notice how this was squared. I don't want that squared, so I just went ahead and just did the roots over them. That's where I got the 18.4 and the 30.6. So now I do the same thing over here. I took the 11, my degree of freedom, times the the standard deviation squared, all over the small, all over the right, all over the left. And then I divided it out, and that's where I got those two numbers. So those are my two confidence intervals. And then I look at them, they're similar. Since they are similar, there is no significance in the times. There would be no significance in a PG movie time as opposed to an R-rated movie time. And that's what you were trying to find. So I hope that clarifies it a little bit more, me showing you a little bit more of the steps and where I kind of got the information.